Hey guys, Jaggerous here with just a quick channel update about where I've been for the last 2 weeks, because I know some of you guys have been wondering. If you keep an eye on my Twitter, you'll have a better idea of what happened, but basically on the weekend of about May 26th or so, I was at a family gathering in the UK. So I flew across to the UK for a family event, and then got to the airport on Monday the 28th to realise that I didn't have my passport. So basically I flew to the UK and promptly lost my passport in the UK. Now, because I'm from the UK, what that means is that you can't get an emergency passport in the way that you can when you get stuck in other countries. So if I got stuck in Norway, for example, I'd be able to get an emergency passport to get out of Norway and back into the UK. But because I'm a British citizen, that doesn't work in reverse. So I was like, oh crap. So I went back to the Airbnb we were staying in and had a look for my passport. Basically, it's just gone. I don't know what happened to it. Just gone forever. So then I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to get a new passport. So I missed my flight on the Monday and was like, right, we've got to get a new passport. And it turns out you can get an emergency passport, and they say it takes a week. It costs £142. You book an appointment online. And the soonest available appointment was on the Tuesday, so Tuesday the 29th in Glasgow. And bear in mind, I stay near Dundee, so that's about an hour and a half away on the train. The flight I tried to take was from Edinburgh, so I was just kind of went from Edinburgh and then up to Dundee, and I could stay at my parents' place, so that was fine. I wasn't really a problem in terms of accommodation, but then it meant that I'd have to go through to Glasgow the following morning, and the appointment was at 9 AM, so I had to get there pretty early. And in order to get a new passport in the UK, you need to get some pictures of yourself taken, which is fine, but you also need to fill out a passport form. And passport forms you can't download, you can't do them online, you can't print them. You can only get them from the post office. And you can only get them from specific post offices, which are like the main branch post offices, so like the bigger ones. And turns out the Monday, which I was meant to fly on the 28th, was a bank holiday. And bank holidays, what that means is all of the post offices are shut. And I didn't realize this when I made my appointment on the Tuesday for getting a passport. So I had a huge panic on Monday of, number one, I lost my passport, and then I can't get a form in order to actually have the correct forms for my appointment the next day because all of the post offices are shut. But I couldn't move my appointment because my appointment, you could only move an appointment within 48 hours, like 48 hours before, but because I booked the day before, that wasn't going to work. So it looked like I was going to have to book a new appointment and pay another £142. So this was like just not good, just not good at all. Life was not very happy at that moment in time. So then I was like, right, maybe I can find someone I know who lives in Glasgow who can meet me in the morning, because I could get a form at the passport office before my appointment and then fill it out there. So I was like, maybe I can meet someone, because you need to have, on a lost passport, you need to have someone countersign your passport. And basically that's someone signing to say, I've known you for 2 years and you are who you say you are. But they also have to be, for some reason, from like they have to be a professional. So all that means is like you have to have a job where if you were lying and committing fraud, then it would have like a negative repercussion on you. So like a doctor, a lawyer, accountant, nurse, funeral director, priest, basically like some professions that sound kind of fancy, civil engineer, these kind of things. And I was like, ugh. The people I know in Glasgow, they're like, some of them are like actors, or they work in retail and that kind of thing, and that doesn't cut it. So I was just like very stressed trying to find someone, or to try and find a passport form on Monday. And it turns out my mother is a nurse, and she asked like the nurse group chat, and one of them happened to have like a spare passport form lying around their house, you know, as you do, just have an extra one. So we managed to collect that, and then because I was back home, I could find someone to countersign it. They don't have to be like not related to you, but I had a counter signature, family friend who lived down the road, so that was all sorted. I managed to get my form done, traveled to Glasgow, and they were like, oh, the appointment is going to take probably 30 minutes, sometimes it takes longer. I literally spent more time sitting in the waiting room for my appointment at the passport office than I did. I gave her the form, she was like, what's your address? Yep, that's fine, stamp, 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 Bob's your uncle, and off you go. So I got my passport form handed in, and then she's like, oh, it'll probably take about a week for your passport to come. It's going to take a week. So I was like, right, that's fine, a week. Not bad, then I can fly back to Norway. But I don't want to book a flight until I've got my passport. Doesn't take a week. Turns out it took 2 days. The passport showed up in less than 48 hours. So that was crazy. And I was like, right, I'll check the price of flights. But all the flights were like 200 to £300 for the kind of near future up until the following Tuesday, which is about the 5th of June. And bear in mind, I'd been invited to a wedding in London the weekend that's just gone past the 9th, 10th of June. So I was like, well, maybe what I should do instead is instead of flying and being in Norway for 2 days and then flying back, I'll just use my return flight from the trip for the wedding because that had already been booked. Except that it turns out with BA, British Airways, if you don't take your outbound flight, then they won't let you, they automatically cancel your return. So if I was going to fly, originally I was going to fly from Norway to London for the wedding, and then I was going to fly from London to Norway. But because I wasn't in Norway, I was like, right, okay, it's fine. I'll fly from London to Norway. I'll just use the return and just not take the outbound flight. Nope, that's not a possibility. So then I was like, oh dear. So I had to phone up BA. I was on hold for about 40 minutes, and the first guy I talked to was a right knob. Like, he was super arsey, but I got transferred through to someone else. And then she was like, look, there's nothing we can do, but we can change your booking. We'll change your booking so that instead of it being a return, it's a single flight on the flight that you'd already booked. That will be £70, please. And I'm just like, wait, so you're charging me £70 to not take a flight and take a flight that I was already booked on? I don't even know. But like, I just wanted to go home at this point, so that's fine. Book it, pay it, whatever, done. Easy. Could fly back on Monday the 11th. And the flight was at 7:25 p.m. That was when we were meant to be flying back. And I left for the airport at 4 p.m. So I left 3.5 hours before the flight, more or less. Except that for some reason, that was the day that the tube system just decided to completely break. So you can get a tube, the London Underground, from London to Heathrow on the Piccadilly line. And so got on a tube to get to the Piccadilly line, get to the Piccadilly line stop, basically, because we had to transfer. The Piccadilly line is closed between, like, the centre of London and Acton Town due to a signalling failure. There is good service on all the other routes. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So I was looking at the tube map and I was trying to work it out. And you could go to Paddington and you can get the Heathrow Express to Heathrow, unsurprisingly. And that is more expensive. It's more expensive, but, you know, the Heathrow Express, I think, takes about 50 minutes from Paddington. But you have to get to Paddington. Alternatively, because we were told that the signals had only failed until Acton Town, and the announcement said there's good service on all the other lines, I realised maybe what I can do instead is take the District line, which is the green line, to Acton Town, then change it in Acton Town and get on a train for Heathrow. Right? Sounds good, sounds good. Except that then we got on the District line train, and as we got on the District line train, he then made an announcement being like, oh, there's no service to, like, beyond Earl's Court. So basically we could only get to Earl's Court, not to Acton Town. And then even if we got to Earl's Court, it didn't freaking matter because the Piccadilly line was broken. But he made this announcement, and then we sat in a tunnel for like 10 minutes. Like the tube, I don't know, he's like, we're at a red light, we can't go anywhere. So we just sat in the tunnel for like 10 minutes. Oh my god, I was getting so stressed. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how we can make it there in time. I don't know what's happening. So then we got to Earl's Court, and they announced that the Piccadilly line service was back in service. So we're like, great, we can just get on the Piccadilly line and go to Heathrow like our original plan. It's going to be kind of tight. This was maybe 2 hours before the flight, but it's quite a long train journey. We can get on the train, we can get to Heathrow. It'll be cutting it fine, but I think we can do it. So we did that. We got on the Piccadilly line, and they were like, this train is for London Heathrow. Except that then we got to, oh my god. We got on the train, and then as it got towards London Heathrow, he's like, actually, this train terminates at Hatton's Cross and is no longer going to London Heathrow. And it was just like, really? So either we could get off and wait for the next train to come along to London Heathrow, which was going to take about 10 minutes, or we could try and get a taxi or an Uber. So ran out of the station, called an Uber, says Uber is 2 minutes away. I'm like, okay, we can get in this Uber, we can make the trip flight, you know, it's going to be fine. I'm like stressed as hell, but I was like, we can do it. I'm going to make it back. It's going to be fine. Called an Uber and then waited 10 minutes and the Uber just didn't show up. Like, I could have waited for the freaking other train. At this point, it was too close to the flight. We had I have a bag to check in because I had some stuff in the UK, which I was bringing back. I wasn't going to be able to drop off my bag and make it through security and catch the flight. So not only did I miss one flight, I actually missed 2 flights. Had to just stay in a hotel and I just booked the last minute flight like on Tuesday back, because at that point I was just like, I'm just done with this whole thing. This has just been an endeavor in like unfortunate events. You know, the book's like a series of unfortunate events. That was my life for like 2 weeks. So yeah, that happened, and that's where I've been, basically. I've been missing flights and organizing passports and paying extra fees on a flight that I didn't even end up fucking taking. Ugh, I'm salty. But I also dyed my hair. So yeah, it's not all terrible. But yeah, if you're wondering where I have been, that is where I have been. I've missed you guys. Everything will be back to normal from here on out. So we'll have more Gwent stuff. We'll continue with The Witcher. There should be some up today. Lots more content coming. Sorry I didn't mean for all of this to happen. Sometimes life just shits on you. But yeah, thanks for watching. That's where I've been. Have a great day, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!